Caitlin Clark, recognized as the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, participated in the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelce on Thursday, where she engaged in discussions regarding the WNBA, NBA, NFL, and other topics. Clark addressed the issue of the NBA's declining viewership with a hint of sarcasm. Clark countered the perception, prevalent among the so-called average fans, that NBA players have altered the nature of the game or that it has lost its physicality. Following her comments, Travis inquired about her stance on the proposal of introducing a 4-point line. "I am in favor of that, let's implement it. It's an excellent idea. Hey, NBA Commissioner, Adam Silver introduce a 4-point line," she expressed. Travis proceeded to provoke discussion further by jokingly asking Clark about the possibility of a hockey-style fight occurring once per game. Clark played along, suggesting, introduce a 2-minute penalty box. After that, you can re-enter the game without facing ejection. In her analysis of the NBA, Clark emphasized that the skill level within the game has transformed significantly. "The league's physicality has undergone considerable changes," said Clark. "Perhaps fans desire more physical play, leading some to believe it has become softer. However, I attribute this also to the evolution of skill. The beauty of basketball lies in its continual evolution. It differs from the era when Michael Jordan played, and it will certainly differ 10 years from now compared to the present." The 2025 WNBA season is set to commence this spring, with Clark commencing her season with the Indiana Fever on May 17 against the Chicago Sky. This past year, the WNBA recorded unprecedented ratings growth, bolstered by emerging talents such as Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink, who attracted substantial audiences from collegiate competitions. Conversely, their NBA counterparts have not seen comparable growth in ratings or any growth whatsoever, which raises concerns for Clark. In her appearance on the New Heights podcast, Clark expressed her views on the decline in NBA ratings, speculating on potential underlying causes. She posited that some NBA players may convey an impression of lackluster effort during regular season games, leading observers to conclude that the league has become soft. One user humorously remarked, "If we acquire boxing gloves for NBA games, then Isaiah Stewart will be included in GOAT conversations. Establish a 4-point line, allow a decade for analysis by statisticians, and they will determine that a 3-point shot is actually an unfavorable choice," another individual commented. "I've been inquiring of many individuals regarding their opinions on the decline. My impression is that the average basketball enthusiast does not fully appreciate the exceptional skill level of NBA players, and they perceive it appears as though the players aren't exerting themselves. I assure you they are indeed trying. Their skill level is simply extraordinary. Perhaps they are in need of more physical play, which leads people to deem the league has softened. Nonetheless, I believe the evolution of skill is at play here. This is what makes the game so captivating, its continual evolution," noted Clark. Clark and the Kelce brothers subsequently discussed several proposals aimed at enhancing the game, which included the potential implementation of a 4-point line and a hockey-like penalty box that would not result in player ejection. Fans appeared to find the concept somewhat entertaining, acknowledging the possible entertainment value in witnessing on-court altercations and a 4-point line. One individual remarked, "I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It was enlightening to hear Caitlin's insights on various sports topics. Her enthusiasm and dedication to the game were evident. I also appreciated her inquisitive nature toward the guys. A fantastic episode to commence 2025. As stated by a third user on X. It remains evident that the NBA must take urgent measures to address the declining viewership." Transitioning from the Bay Area, the veteran coach with over 2 decades of experience immediately recognized a comparison for his new key player #1 icon Steph Curry. "You're not going to believe this, but we are coaching an athlete who will be regarded by many as the female counterpart of Steph Curry," Babanot recounted, mentioning to a friend on the telephone in 2016 during an interview with Athlon Sports. Head coach Kristen Meyer observed a distinct confidence and basketball intelligence in Clark that distinguished her from her adolescent contemporaries, coupled with a pronounced competitive nature. This intensity sometimes prompted her to challenge teammates or officials. She acknowledged that it wasn't beneficial. "It did not aid the team. It did not enhance her performance," Meyer disclosed. Yet, she becomes so immersed in the moment that she finds it difficult to restrain herself. Teammate Ella McVeigh, who later pursued softball at the University of Michigan, noted that Clark was consistently several steps ahead of both her teammates and the referees, which frequently resulted in lost passes or overlooked calls. Due to her incredible skill set, the opposing team is committing fouls against her nearly every possession at least once or twice because she is so far more talented and agile, and she understands how to destabilize her defenders, Meyer commented. However, as an official, it's not feasible to call every single foul, or else the game ceases to progress, right? Clark was already approaching the sport with a professional mindset. She arrived early to engage in additional shooting practice and had reviewed video footage of her opponents prior to team activities. I believe all elite athletes possess a similar tendency wherein, once they activate their competitive drive, they enter a focused mode, McVeigh remarked. However, Caitlin not only embodies that trait but also exemplifies being a sister, a daughter, and a friend to many in her life. It's crucial for people to acknowledge that she is fundamentally just a person. She never requested to exit a game, Meyer remarked. Typically, when she would come out, it would only take around 20 seconds before she would turn and say, "Can I return now?" I have never encountered anyone who possesses a greater passion for the game than she does. Clark has been competing before sold-out crowds, confronting hecklers and facing double defenses since the age of 16. Regardless of whether it was during high school, college, or the WNBA, no one has yet discovered a method to contain her. The WNBA Rookie of the Year's commitment to enhancing her skills ensures that she is perpetually in motion, regardless of the challenges presented to her. She garnered admiration from supporters for her choice to forego participation in the lucrative Unrivaled League in order to return revitalized for her sophomore season. She has been diligently training in the gym and appears to have gained strength in recent training videos, which could leave her adversaries with apprehension. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's Rookie of the Year, admitted that she felt fortunate to have been overlooked for Team USA selection for last year's Paris Olympics, as it afforded her a necessary break. Before embarking on her WNBA journey, Clark had already established herself as a sensation in women's basketball, having broken numerous records with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Despite her outstanding performances, she was unexpectedly excluded from the 12-player Olympic roster. Reflecting on her omission in 2024, Clark expressed gratitude for the opportunity to take a step back, stating, "It's going to be beneficial for me to pursue my own path and have my own space. I really want to remain outside of the spotlight." During the New Heights podcast with NFL stars Travis and Jason Kelce, Clark elaborated on the unanticipated benefits of the Olympic hiatus, which permitted her to recuperate during a strenuous season. "We had to halt the WNBA season since the 12 athletes participate in the Olympics, and for everyone else, not much is happening. I received about a month off, which I certainly needed considering I had been playing basketball for approximately a year continuously. However, it's undeniably quite different from the NFL or the NBA." Team USA coach Cheryl Reeve has been forthright regarding the limited authority she possesses in the selection of the national team. Clarifying her position, Reeve noted, "What people often fail to understand about it is that the coach of the national team truly has no influence in the team selection." She also conveyed her dissatisfaction that Minnesota Lynx' star Kayla McBride was not selected, despite her exceptional performances during training camp, stating, "I believed K-Mac had an outstanding camp and should have accompanied us to Sydney. I had no indication that anyone felt otherwise, particularly from our staff, as some committee members were present in our meetings." Further elaborating on her disappointment, Reeve remarked, "It seemed that we all shared the sentiment that K-Mac excelled during camp, and while I understood she had to go to Sydney and make the final cut, I learned at the last moment that they had released my player. I told K-Mac that if there was ever a time for people to comprehend that the coach has no influence in these decisions, this is one of those instances." Star player Clark also addressed the swift transition from collegiate basketball to the professional level, highlighting the nearly non-existent break in between, stating, "I think it was somewhat beneficial as well. There's no time to overanalyze situations. It's just like boom, 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 and on to the next. However, concurrently, I feel as though I never truly closed the chapter on college. It seems I departed, and then, the WNBA occurred. There isn't much time to reflect on it, hence I believe that's distinctly the oddest aspect of women's professional basketball and collegiate basketball. It's the nature of that transition, but that's certainly how it must be as well." Some have attributed the considerable uptick in three-pointers across the league as a reason for this issue. Others suggest that media representations of the actual game have become excessively negative. A number have posited that an increase in player injuries, which has led to stars' inconsistent availability, contributes to the decline. Additionally, some have recommended that the league consider commencing its season on Christmas rather than in October to mitigate the considerable overlap with football. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, one of basketball's prominent figures, is also seeking to uncover the true reasons behind the decrease in NBA viewership. The near-unanimous Rookie of the Year mentioned during a New Heights podcast episode that she is determined to discover why this season's ratings are lower than in previous years. "I've been inquiring with several individuals regarding this, questioning why they believe the numbers are down," she stated. Clark has developed her own hypothesis concerning the diminished NBA viewership this season, which upon contemplation, seems quite plausible. Honestly, I think the average basketball fan does not fully grasp how talented NBA players are, leading them to perceive it as though the players are not exerting effort, Clark remarked. I assure you, they are indeed trying. They simply possess such high skill levels that it appears as though they are not. A prevalent criticism is that contemporary players exhibit less intensity and physicality compared to their predecessors. However, this viewpoint frequently disregards the significant advancements in the skills of offensive players. Numerous NBA franchises deploy 4 or 5 three-point shooters simultaneously, which limits defenders' ability to overcommit to drives as they once did. Clark also recognized the argument that early season basketball ratings may be adversely affected due to competing sports, particularly college football and the NFL, which typically air contests during the initial months of the NBA season. It's challenging for me to pinpoint the reasons for the decline. Currently, there is competition from football, which must be considered. Football is the preferred sport in America.